Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Kashif Kamran, your SBL tutor, and today I am investigating the reading and planning time in SBL paper. You are all familiar that the time management of SBL has changed effective September 2023 exams, and SBL is now a paper worth 3 hours and 15 minutes. Now, when we look at the time management in SBL, primarily the time management for reading and planning time, and I'll be doing a separate section on the writing time. The total exam time effective September 23 is 195 minutes. This means that you have 1.95 marks per minute, right? You have 100 marks in the paper. I'm not going into the divide of the technical and professional marks. I'm taking them in an absolute form. This includes the reading and planning time and the writing time. The rule of the thumb says that 1/4 of your time should be spent on reading and planning, and 3/4 of your time should be spent on writing. So in the exam, you have 195 minutes. So roughly, if we look at the total analysis, in terms of the total analysis of the 195 minutes, roughly you have something like you have something like 50 odd minutes for reading and planning, or like 49 minutes to be very precise. That means you have 145 minutes to write the answer for the whole paper. So 195 minutes, the total picture, and 1/4 of 195 minutes and 3/4 of 195 minutes. So you can take a holistic breakup of the reading and planning time, roughly 50 odd minutes, and then 145 minutes for writing in the answer. Suppose the task one in the paper is of 34 marks, and knowing that each mark is worth 1.95 minutes. So 34 marks, you will multiply that by 1.95. So total of 66 minutes you have for the task number one. Now that 66 minutes includes the reading and planning time and the writing time. So you will have 16 minutes to read and plan your answer. And then you will have 50 minutes to write in your answer. That's what the rule of thumb is. So I hope you will effectively follow that 1/4 and 3/4, because reading and planning is very essential. If you're not spending time on reading and planning and you're just rushing towards writing the answer, you will not be writing an appropriate answer. You will not be writing an answer which we have discussed in the previous sessions, the answer of the most competent student. Now let's take an example of what sort of things you need to do within that reading and planning time. Suppose you have 16 minutes here and you are doing a task of 34 marks. What will you do in that 16 minutes before you write an answer? Each task and how to go about reading and planning time. Read the requirement carefully. So in that 1/4 time, or for example, the example in focus where we have 16 minutes. So you need to read the requirement carefully. You need to understand what the requirement is expecting from you. Be very careful. There could be a comma, there could be and, which breaks and split the requirement. So read the requirement carefully to know what sort of technical marks you need to focus on, what is the subject matter of the requirement, what you need to do, in which format I need to present my answer. Should I be writing a memo, letter, briefing note, whatever? So be very sure of the requirement. Look at the number of marks. See how many marks you have, how many points you will be writing. For example, if it is a 12 marks requirement, and each well-developed point in SBL is 2 marks, so 12 divided by 2 is 6 good points. So you know how many points I need to fetch from the case study when I'm reading. So reading the requirement in a very organized manner is very, very essential for the number of marks, how many points will you write, the format, what technical marks are focusing on, what is the subject matter, what should I do? Everything should be absorbed in. Then, when you're reading the requirement, you will be able to pick the exhibit with which you need to link your answer. For example, you were reading the task number one, and the task number one was saying an email from a finance director. And on the left-hand side, when you look at your exhibits, you will see a title of an exhibit saying email from a finance director. So you know, okay, the answer lies in this particular exhibit. Or you were reading the task number 1 and it was referring to a letter from CEO. And on the left-hand side, when you look at the exhibits, there was an exhibit with the title of letter from CEO. So you pick, oh, this is where the answer is. So every task will connect to a certain exhibit now from September 23. So once you're reading the requirement, you will also pick in which exhibit to connect the task 1 with. That is also part of reading and planning. And then copy paste relevant points from that particular exhibit and dump that points into your response section. So you're preparing yourself for the writing of the answer. You know the requirements, you've read the requirements very well, you know what to do. Once you are sure after the reading of the requirement which exhibit to connect requirement with, start reading the exhibit. Now, when you're reading the exhibit, just keep copy pasting relevant points from that exhibit into the response section. You know how many points you need to write. Now, once that all is done, you have a good looking response section where everything has been put in the 16 minutes, the example we were taking for the task number 1. And then after 16 minutes for the task number 1, you had 50 minutes to write the answer. So you're all set to write a good answer. At least when you're writing the answer now, the first thing is you are meeting the expectation of the requirement. You have drilled the exhibit very well. You've identified the points very well. So whatever you will be writing would be extracted from the case, well connected to the case, and you're not writing anything which is generic. Please ensure you demonstrate the professional skill marks when you're writing the good answer, because when you are reading the requirement, you should also read what skill you need to demonstrate and how. So that should also be evident in your answer. So that makes a good answer. So I hope you will utilize the reading and planning time for each task very carefully and also understand the importance of how significantly reading and planning time contributes to your success in writing a good answer. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.